Today we'll be talking about Sylveon, the final evolution as of the filming of this. It evolves from Eevee when leveled up with High Friendship with a Fairy-type move. In Gen 6 and 7, the High Friendship requirement was instead 2 Hearts of Affection. Excluding Mega Evolution, Sylveon is also the only evolution of a Pokémon from a previous generation introduced in Gen 6. Its previous PYC dates are January 26th, 1998, November 27th, 2000, September 29th, 2003, July 31st, 2006, June 1st, 2009, April 2nd, 2012, February 2nd, 2015, December 4th, 2017, October 5th, 2020, and August 7th, 2023. I love Sylveon's design. I think it works well for the Fairy-type evolution. While I know Sylveon from several places, which I will get to soon, I would be remiss if I didn't mention how fitting it is that we're talking about Sylveon in Pride Month, as Sylveon, both in its normal form and shiny form, is considered an icon in the transgender community due to the similarities between their colorations and the colors in the transgender pride flag. Although these colors are not exact, it is close enough that many have adopted it as a representative of the community. Outside of this, I most know Sylveon from 9 places. 1, I know it from Year of Eevee. No, not last year, although it, along with Eevee and the other evolutions, were prominent throughout the year. I'm talking about the first Year of Eevee in 2012 to early 2013, which led up to Sylveon's reveal, which soon became the mascot of the newly introduced Fairy-type. 2, I know it from the back of the box of Pokémon X. 3, Pokémon Shuffle. 4, Pokémon Cafe Remix, where I know it as a delivery Pokémon and on 2 title screens and on an app icon. 5, thanks to this series, I know it as one of the Pokémon of Serena, a main character in the Gen 6 era of the anime. 6, a new Pokémon Snap. 7, the Eevee video in the animated Pokédex series. 8, 2 trailers for Legends of Yay. 9, 3 trailers for Pokopia. Anyway, let's get into the Bulbapedia article. Hello and welcome to the Bulbapedia section of the video. Today we'll be talking about Sylveon, the intertwining Pokémon whose number is 0700. This is what it looks like. Its type is Fairy, abilities Cute Charm. Pixelate is its hidden ability. Gender ratio is 87.5% male and 12.5% female. Catch rate is 45 or 11.9%. Breeding is a group field. Hatch time 35 cycles. Height is 3'3" or 1 meter. Weight is 51.8 pounds or 23.5 kilograms. Base experience yield is 184. Leveling rate is medium fast. EV yield is 2 and special defense. Shape is that. Pokédex color is pink and base friendship is 70. Sylveon is a Fairy-type Pokémon introduced in Gen 6. It evolves from Eevee when leveled up, while knowing a Fairy-type move and having 2 Hearts of Affection or High Friendship. It is one of Eevee's final forms, the others being Vaporeon, Jolteon, Flareon, Espeon, Umbreon, Leafeon, and Glaceon. Biology, Sylveon is a quadrupedal mammalian Pokémon covered with pale cream-colored fur with pink feet, ears, and tail. It has light blue eyes, long ears with blue interiors, and thicker fur, a tiny nose, 2 stray tufts of fur on top of its head, and 2 pointed teeth, which can be seen when it opens its mouth. There are 2 bows on its body, one at the base of its left ear and one at its neck. Each bow is a pale cream with a pink center and trails a pair of ribbon-like feelers. These feelers, which can be manipulated like limbs and extended far beyond their typical length, are pale cream and end at the tips with a pink stripe, then a dark blue stripe, and then a light blue color. It has slender legs with small 3-toed paws and a fluffy, slightly curved tail. Sylveon, extending its feelers. Sylveon's ribbon-like feelers emit a soothing aura that erases any sense of hostility, enabling it to stop fights instantly. It will also wrap its feelers around its trainer's arm as they walk together, which allows it to read their feelings. When hunting, it distracts its prey by swirling around its feelers and using its aura to weaken its target's enmity before pouncing on it. When a fight breaks out between Sylveon and a dragon Pokémon, it will bravely charge at its opponent even if it is much bigger. In Galar, this feat is told as a fairy tale. It moves with graceful precision, feelers trembling as it glides about, but its piercing moves strike straight at its foes' weak spots. As mentioned in Pokémon Sleep, Sylveon's aura can allow any nearby trainers to obtain a good night's sleep. It enjoys living in flower meadows where it dances while releasing its calming energy. In Gen 8, Sylveon was the only known Pokémon that could have Pixelate as an ability. Evolution, Sylveon evolves from Eevee, so Eevee, Sylveon. Game data, Pokédex entries in Gen 6, X. It sends a soothing aura from its ribbon-like feelers to calm fights. Y. It wraps its ribbon-like feelers around the arm of its beloved trainer and walks with him or her. Omega Ruby is X's entry, Alpha Sapphire is Y's entry. In Gen 7, Sun, Its ribbon-like feelers give off an aura that weakens hostility in its prey, causing them to let down their guard. Then it attacks. Moon. When this Pokemon sights its prey, it swirls its ribbon-like feelers as a distraction. A moment later, it pounces. Ultra Sun. Once a fight breaks out, it will unflinchingly charge at Dragon Pokemon that are many times larger than itself. Ultra Moon. Sylveon wraps its ribbon-like feelers around its trainer's arm, because this touch enables it to read its trainer's feelings. In Gen 8 Sword, by releasing Enmity, erasing waves from its ribbon-like feelers, Sylveon stops any conflict. Shield. There's a Galarian fairy tale that describes a beautiful Sylveon vanquishing a dreadful dragon Pokemon. Legends Arceus emits a soothing aura from its ribbon-shaped organs. It wraps these appendages around quarrelers to instantly restore calm to the situation. In Gen 9 Scarlet, this Pokemon uses its ribbon-like feelers to send a soothing aura into its opponent, erasing their hostility. Violet. Sylveon cuts an elegant figure as it dances lightly around, feelers fluttering, but its piercing moves aim straight for its opponent's weak spots. Legend ZA. It wraps its ribbon-like feelers around the arm of its beloved trainer and walks with them. Pocopia's entry is Sword's entry. Sylveon in the Alola Pokedex in Sun and Moon. Sylveon in the Alola Pokedex in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Sylveon in the Paldea Pokedex, so you can see it in the square here. Game locations. Side game locations. In events. Held items. In Legends Arceus, normal, it has the Raspberry 30% of the time, and Vivichoke 15% of the time, grid items by level. Alpha, EXP Candy M 100% of the time, See the Bastard 20% of the time, and grid items by level. I still don't know how the math works. Stats, base stats, HP 95, attack and defense 65, special attack 110, special defense 130, speed 60, for a total of 525. Type effectiveness, damage normally by normal, flying, ground, rock, ghost, fire, water, grass, electric, psychic, ice, and fairy. Weak to poison and steel for double. Immune to dragon, resistant to fighting, bug, and dark, all for half. Notes, if this Pokemon is given a ring target, the effectiveness of dragon-type moves is 1, so go from 0 to 1. Learn set, there's a special note here, I'll read it, I guess. Sylveon is available in Scarlet and Violet and Legends ZA. In the former, all damage dealing normal type moves will get stab if Sylveon has the ability Pixelate. By leveling up in Scarlet and Violet, we'll start at 2. Never mind, we'll do this Evo and then go on. Okay, so upon evolution, it gets Disarming Voice, 5, it gets Sand Attack, 10, Quick Attack, 15, Baby Doll Eyes, 20, Swift, 25, Light Screen, 30, Draining Kiss, 35, Misty Terrain, 40, Skill Swap, 45, Psych Up, 50, Moonblast, and 55, Last Resort. For Legends ZA, we'll do these move reminders here, and they go down to 10, so by move reminder, it gets Takedown, Double Edge, Swift, Charm, and Wish, all of which boost at 10. At 10, it gets Quick Attack, which boosts at 13. 15, it gets Disarming Voice, which boosts at 18. At 25, it gets Light Screen, which boosts at 28. At 30, it gets Draining Kiss, which boosts at 33. At 35, it gets Dazzling Gleam, which boosts at 38. At 40, it gets Hyper Voice, which boosts at 43. At 45, it gets Fake Tears, which boosts at 48. And at 50, it gets Moonblast, which boosts at 53. By TM, since it has a different type than its pre-evolution, we'll read all of them. So in Scarlet and Violet, TM001 Takedown, 2 Charm, 3 Fake Tears, 5 Mud Slap, there's this note, version 2.0.1 onwards, 7 Protect, 19 Disarming Voice, 20 Trailblaze, 25 Facade, 32 Swift, 33 Magical Leaf, 37 Draining Kiss, 41 Stored Power, 47 Endure, 49 Sunny Day, 50 Rain Dance, 54 Psyshock, 55 Dig, 66 Body Slam, 70 Sleep Talk, 74 Reflect, 75 Light Screen, 79 Dazzling Gleam, 85 Rest, 98 Skill Swap, 103 Substitute, 114 Shadow Ball, 117 Hyper Voice, 120 Psychic, 127 Play Rough, 129 Calm Mind, 130 Helping Hand, 132 Baton Pass, 139 Misty Terrain, 152 Giga Impact, 163 Hyper Beam, 171 Terra Blast, 172 Roar, 193 Weather Ball, 201 Misty Explosion, 203 Psych Up, 204 Double Edge, 224 Curse, and 227 Alluring Voice. For Legends ZA, TM003 Psyshock, 5 Roar, 6 Calm Mind, 16 Light Screen, 17 Protect, 27 Swift, 28 Dig, 31 Reflect, 33 Body Slam, 35 Endure, 44 Hyper Beam, 55 Giga Impact, 56 Double Edge, 63 Psychic, 71 Hyper Voice, 74 Shadow Ball, 85 Substitute, 87 Iron Tail, 91 Curse, 92 Dazzling Gleam, 95 Taunt, 109 Facade, 115 Trailblaze, 125 Mimic, and 146 Skull Bash. By breeding, we're skipping nothing by prior evolution. Special moves in these events, or this event, I don't know. It can get Calm Mind, Shadow Ball, and Yawn. Side game data, you got all this. In No Pokemon Snap, the Photodex entry, Sylveon has really made itself at home in the flower meadow in the nature park. It seems to love living there, dancing nimbly as it emits waves of soothing energy. Pokemon Sleep. Since this is the first time looking at all this generation, I'll explain how this works. So, we don't read most of this. We read this like a Pokedex, because it's kind of like a Pokedex, and we talk about each of these. I don't do, talk about the stars or anything, I just read the names a little. It sends a soothing aura from its ribbon-like feelers. Trainers that sleep beside a Sylveon are likely get a great night's sleep every time they hit the hay. So the sick means that that's just how it was. Like a grammatical error there. Curled up sleep, sturdy sleep, ribbon tangled sleep, and a top belly sleep. Costumes in Pokemon Go. Flower crown. Can't really see it, but it's over the ear. Holiday hat, also kind of around the ear. Cherry blossoms. Again, can't really see them very well. And then Explorer hat on the area. Evolution data, Sylveon evolves from Eevee when leveled up while knowing a Fairy-type move and having high friendship prior to Gen 8. It evolved from Eevee when leveled up while knowing a Fairy-type move and having at least 2 levels of affection. Eevee will evolve into Sylveon even if the evolutionary conditions for it to evolve into Espeon or Umbreon have also been met. Eevee will never evolve into Sylveon while near a Moss Rock or Ice Rock, or in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, or Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, as Sylveon is not present in those games. Eevee, level up with high friendship and a Fairy-type move, Sylveon. Sprites here. So yeah, again, the shiny is blue replaces the pink replaces the blue. That's basically it. Okay. Gen 7, not really much changes. Head shape might be a little bit different. I don't know. Gen 8, you get the much better models. Legends Arceus, you get these models. Homes, you get these models. Animation. Sylveon in Pokemon Horizons the series. Serena's Sylveon is the big one. Got all this. Oh. Terrestrialized Sylveon in Pokemon Horizons the series. Got this. Pokedex entries in XY episode 13 in Ash's Pokedex. Sylveon, the intertwining Pokemon in an evolved form of Eevee. Sylveon affectionately wraps its ribbon-like feelers around its trainer's arm as they walk together. XY episode 105 in Serena's Pokedex. Sylveon, the intertwining Pokemon. Sylveon affectionately wraps its ribbon-like feelers around its trainer's arm as they walk together. In Journeys episode 105 in Chloe's Rotom phone. Sylveon, the intertwining Pokemon. A fairy type. Sylveon's ribbon-like feelers send out waves that have a calming effect and can put a stop to conflicts. If it places its feelers on its trainer, Sylveon can understand their emotions. Gotcha, Poketoon. Sylveon and Poketoon. The manga. Sylveon and Pokemon Adventures. Pokedex entries. In Pokemon Adventures, Chapter 553, it wraps its ribbon-like feelers around the arms of its beloved trainer and walks with him or her. In the TCG, other appearances. Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS/Wii U. Sylveon appears as a trophy in both games. Sylveon Trophy in Super Smash Bros. For 3DS. Trophy information. Sylveon is one of Eevee's various final evolutions. It has a lot of great attacks to use in battle, but it actually seems to be a peace-loving sort of Pokemon. Case in point, it can completely stop the flow of battle by moving its ribbon-like feelers in a way that charms its opponents into not wanting to fight anymore. Pokemon Unite. Sylveon is playable after obtaining its Unite license. It is a ranged attacker that starts as Eevee and evolves at level 4. Sylveon and Pokemon Unite. Trivia, Sylveon is the lightest evolution. Sylveon is the only cross-generational evolutionary relative introduced in Gen 6. Sylveon is the only Pokemon introduced after Gen 4 that is obtainable in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX. Sylveon is the only evolution to be introduced in a generation that did not include any other evolutions. According to Danushi Masuda, Sylveon was the first Fairy-type Pokemon to be created in-game. In Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, prior to version 2.0.1, Sylveon was unable to learn Mudslap via TM despite Eevee being able to. Sylveon is the only evolution to not evolve by using an item in any games, as Leafeon and Glaceon can evolve by using a Leaf Stone and Ice Stone, respectively, in Gen 8 onwards, while Espeon and Umbreon evolve using a Sun Shard and Moon Shard, respectively, in Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. Concept and development, Sylveon was designed by Atsuko Nishida. According to Nishida, it is a reimagination of stereotypical modern fairies, winged, human-shaped beings like Tinkerbell. Moreover, Sylveon's color scheme was chosen because it isn't found in nature, emphasizing it as a fantastical creature. Origin: similar to most evolutions, Sylveon's overall design shares characteristics with multiple different mammalian species such as dogs, cats, and foxes. However, in contrast to the other evolutions, pointed ears, Sylveon's large and rounded ears resemble a rabbit's. Due to fairies' affinity to nature, myths commonly involve them being particularly active during a full moon. Because of this, and the rabbit similarity, Sylveon could be based on the moon rabbit. Alternatively, it may be based on Chang'e, the moon rabbit's owner and the goddess of the moon in Chinese mythology. Chang'e is a Zhangyu, a type of female immortal or deity, often translated as fairy or fairy maiden. Jianshu are often depicted wearing hanfu, a traditional robe adorned with a large silk shawl and ribbons, accessories which likely inspired Sylveon's ribbon-like feelers. Name origin: Sylveon may be a combination of sylph, elemental of air, commonly identified with fairies. Sylvan, an adjective used to describe wooded or rural areas. Sylvanus, a Roman deity of the woods and uncultivated land. And eon, an immeasurably long period of time, possibly referring to how long evolution takes naturally. Eon is a suffix all evolutions share and was Eevee's English prototype name. Nymphia may be derived from nymph, a class of female nature deities in Greek mythology commonly associated with fairies. Now, languages, related articles, references, external links to the evolutions. Let's move on. Now let's watch Sylveon's first scene in the anime. Hello and welcome to the anime portion of the video. Today we are watching the short Eevee and Friends. In this short, Pikachu Exu, Oshawott, and Pansage are running through these fields of flowers. So yeah, we're back in the Gen 5 era of the anime. And yeah, we're in the flowers. Okay. Sylveon. And that, I guess, is Sylveon's first scene in the anime. That's fun. Now let's see why other people love Sylveon. Now let's look at fan art. Hello and welcome to the fan art section of the video. Nobody's setting fan art, so instead we're looking at DeviantArt fan art. For those of you familiar with the series, you might be wondering why we're on a single image, and that's because this is the only image we'll be doing today. This is Sylveon wallpaper by Icy665. So we've got the official image of Sylveon on this interesting background here. It's supposed to be like a computer wallpaper. Yeah, that's it. Let's move on. Thanks to everyone who submitted fan art. I'll be streaming tonight at 6 p.m. CDT, Central Daylight Time, where we'll be trying to get Beldum and Camerupt, Ketch and Rayquaza, and Deoxys, Evolve, Seadra and Kingdra, Porygon all the way to Porygon Z, Beldum all the way to Metagross, and Omega Rubies, Clamperl into Gorobus, and Mega Evolve, Sharpedo, Camerupt, Salamence, Metagross, and Rayquaza. Tomorrow I'll be talking about Hawlucha. As always, this is my proper outfit, and I'll see you tomorrow.